Okay, welcome to Knowledge is Key, everyone. I'm your host, Kei Renee. I hope you guys have had an amazing week. I hope you've done things that brought joy into your life. Today's episode is going to bring a lot of joy into your life. But before I get into today's episode, I just want to, if you're driving, you can't see this, just visualize it if you're listening. But if you are watching us through, the YouTube channel, take a look at this new merch that we have. So I'm so excited to bring some Knowledge is Key merchandise to our store. So we do now have merchandise, and the best way to support our show is to go ahead and cop your Knowledge is Key merchandise, because it does keep our show rolling, and it's going to even allow us to hire out staff and bring on people who want to get into production, and we're going to be able to hire them through your support of our merchandise. So go ahead and get you some merchandise. You can also text the word knowledge to 21,000. That is knowledge to 21,000, and we'll send you a direct link to be able to get some merch and support. Yeah? All right, bet. So today I have with me, she's my really good friend. Her name is Deva Pink. She's a certified life coach and also the founder of the Say Yes to You program, all about self-love. If you watch her Instagram, then you've seen her, what are they on Mondays again?
My attitude of gratitude.
Attitude of gratitude. And I have Deva with me, so thank you so much, Deva. Everyone, let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming and joining me today. Of course, I've seen you build this from the ground up, so I'm so proud of you, and I'm so excited to be able to have these conversations, because self-love and just being aware of yourself is so important in everything that you're trying to do, whether it's business, whether it's just trying to raise your kids, whether it's trying to raise yourself. Dude, I know it's very important. So tell us, for our viewers and our listeners, a little bit about what the Say Yes to You program is, and then what you do as a life coach.
So basically, the Say Yes to You is a program that is designed for women to help them unpack their baggage so that they can identify what it is that is keeping them stuck from being who they want to be, where they want to be. And it's basically anywhere from a 9 to 6 week program, where every week you dive into yourself and you do some real self-discovery. You unpack your baggage, which is the hardest for most people, because we are so accustomed to holding on to our pain and our trauma. And at the end, you have a small self-love ceremony where you commit to loving yourself, honoring yourself, in hopes to attract that in return.
Yeah, what's your end goal for when somebody comes and takes this program, or they're committing to loving themselves? What is the end goal with this?
The end goal is, number one, is to help them to become aware of themselves, because when we're not aware of ourselves, we make decisions based on our past, based on our tradition, conditioning, and things of that nature. So the goal is to help you become aware of yourself so that you can fully prioritize and commit to loving yourself, making it the important thing, you know what I mean? And then everything else will fall in line.
Yeah, I'm really curious how you think about, I feel in the African American community, sometimes I feel there's not a lot of self-love inside, because we're already, divided by a nation. We're taught to hate our skin colors. We're taught to all these things. Darker people are less than the lighter skin.
Right.
Unfortunately, which none of that even matters, because honestly, the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. So I'm just gonna let you know that right now. But
thanks, kid.
girl, then your juice.
But my hair is black, so hey.
But do you think that there's a way through your type of teachings and through self-love to help that community deal with that type of baggage that we have kind of packed up inside of us, or is it?
Oh, absolutely. I feel everyone can unpack their baggage. It doesn't matter what culture background you come from, just from life experiences. And all of us are going to have different experiences according to our culture and our upbringing. Yeah. So I feel it is extremely important, especially in our community, because we don't talk about our trauma. We don't talk about our pain. Yeah. It's not something that we invite into our homes or into our lives. So I feel it's going to be very beneficial, you know what I mean, when we start unpacking that, because then we'll realize that we have so much more in common than we don't have in common, and that the separation is only just a delusion, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's an illusion. Like, it's not even really real. You know what I mean? We're making it real because we believe that it's real. So it's not really real. So I think it's very beneficial, and I think they really need to fucking do it. I'm sorry.
No, you guys listen. We need to do it.
You need to unpack your
we need to do it. I think it's very necessary.
You know what? I got a question about this subject, and it might be a little. We might be switching gears a tiny bit here.
I'll switch us back later.
Yeah. You being a life coach, how do you feel a significant other could help with, guiding their other through that type of drama or trauma? Yeah.
The way a significant other can help their partner through trauma, whether it's molestation, abuse, or is, number one, is not compare themselves to the other person, because we have the tendency to compare ourselves all the time. I would have, so she should have, or vice versa. So number one, don't compare yourself. Number two, have compassion and empathy so that you can be patient with the individual, because everybody doesn't handle things the same way. And I also believe that you should really encourage them to seek therapy, life coaching, someone outside of the intimate environment that can help them through that process as well, because we can only help our significant others so much. You know what I mean? Someone on the outside, I think, can maybe guide them better and support them better and let them know that you support them, if they want to choose to do therapy or life coaching or anything like that.
And that's crazy, because that was like what I was going to lead into next, was something when someone has trauma so deep that they've been dealing with, and now they're finally like, okay, now I'm at the footsteps of Deva, I got to unpack this. What is the unpack process like for people who are dealing with, traumas that are deep, like, things?
It's so interesting, because you would think that people don't want to talk about their stories or tell what happened to them, but a lot of people really do, because that's one of the major part of the healing is what they say, you don't heal what you don't reveal. So a lot of people want to reveal it, but the process of the unpacking is first identifying what it is that the person wants. Because if you don't know what a person wants, then you can't help them to unpack their baggage to see what's interfering with them getting what it is that they want. So I help them to identify what it is that they want, and then we go through a process of going back. You know what I mean? To say, okay, you say you want to attract a relationship. Let's talk about your upbringing and how your relationship was with your mother or with your father. That's going to help us to identify their ideas about relationship, their experiences about relationship, and help them to understand that dynamic so that they don't bring that baggage into their current situation of whatever it is that they desire.
I think another, you could just kind of hint into it, but another thing that affects a lot of people in a lot of communities. I know they always try to say it's the African American communities, but honestly, there's deadbeat dads, all races. And
deadbeat mamas.
Deadbeat moms too. But let's not even deadbeat moms and deadbeat dads. Like, there are both of the dynamics. So how do you, if someone is like out there listening and they're like, one thing that is kind of hurtling me is I do have issues with my father or issues with my mother, and it's affecting the way that I treat men or women in relationships.
Right.
Have you dealt with anything like that?
Absolutely.
And what is how do you feel about that type of trauma that people deal with a lot, which is it's a common trauma?
Right. I think part of it is conditioning to believe that because your father or mother is an adult, so to speak, that they should know how to do everything perfectly. And the reality of it is, I always say that you have children in adult bodies. So your father or your mother, they're doing the best that they know how from wherever they are. And what I try to get my clients to understand is to say, okay, think about a situation or a mistake that you've ever made in your life, and you know that it was a mistake, and you know you was doing the best that you knew how in that time, and you want to be forgiven. You want the person to see your point of view. Flip that and see that with your parents. You know what I mean? And see that they're gonna make mistakes. They're not perfect. You know what I mean? And so it's about understanding, I think. You know what I mean? And not judging the person. And like I said, comparing. We do a lot of comparing. You know what I mean? You are you. He is he. She is she. And it's important that we get to that understanding part so that we can really heal and come together and know that, our parents have baggage too that they didn't unpack, and their parents have baggage. So you're talking about a generation of toxicity and pain that we all are carrying and passing down to our children.
Yeah.
Right. Nah, you see it. It's funny. I was just talking to somebody about that, and I also think about it like, yo, I'm 30 right now.
Uh-oh.
And
happy birthday.
I know. And sometimes I think about my parents. I'm not gonna say my mom or my dad, but both. I think about them sometimes, and I'm like, damn. I think my mom had me at 21.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, I think he was 26 or something like that. But when you really sit and think about it, like the shit I was doing at 21 and 26, you know what I mean? And without kid, just dumb shit.
Yeah, I think it's like sometimes you like don't realize until you become that age that you're like, wait, I'm upset at my parents or at these people because they had me when they were like 23, but at 23, honestly, you still trying to figure out how to tie your shoes.
Right.
Like, you're a baby.
Yeah.
Like, you are, like, even though like when you're younger and you're looking at like, oh, my 25-year-old cousin, like, oh, my grown cousin. No, your baby cousin. Like, she is not grown. Like.
So when I feel like, people feel how they feel. But at that point, I started to realize, like, yo, I understand now, like, why they were how they were, or why they did what they did. You know what I mean? Because they just didn't know. They were purely ignorant to it. You know what I mean? Not to say that was a bad thing, but they were ignorant to it. They didn't know how to raise no kids.
Yeah, but that takes a strong person, and, Damari's a strong person, but everybody is not, like Damari with an open mind that they can think. So the people who have closed minds when you're trying to get through to them with these concepts of like, we need to do these steps. How do you deal with that? Because I'm sure you have clients who don't want to, or, there's people who don't want to deal with it, but somehow you get them to deal with it. So like, what are you doing to get people to deal with these issues?
Oh, it's a process. That is for sure. And it's really, I allow my spirit to just guide me to kind of just go within and choose the best words, maybe the best analogy or scenario to get them to understand. And sometimes I even just allow them to stay in their space because not everyone is ready. Not everyone is ready to unpack. Not everyone is ready to see themselves because it's scary to have to face yourself, to have to face your past and your pain. But it's just a very patient process. To be a life coach and to really help people unpack, you have to really be passionate about it. Because if I didn't care, I would be like, well, I don't give a fuck shit. You don't want your bags unpacked? All right.
Listen, I don't know why you
stay where you at.
Yeah,
I don't even know why you sat there.
I don't even know why you're here.
Like, a deposit not returnable. Like.
Right. But I also refer them back to, remember when you were asking me what's the process, I refer them back to, you said you wanted this. You said you wanted to attract healthy relationships. Yeah. You said you wanted to be successful in your career. Yeah. So I always take them back to what it is they said that they wanted. So if you want this, you got to give up something. You got to give up that pain. Yeah. You have to unpack that baggage. So that's, to me, I think a very great tool that I use because most people would be like, damn, I did say that's what I want. I didn't say this is what you wanted.
Right.
You said you wanted this. So how are we going to help you to get there? Because you deserve to have it. So
yeah. What is another? I know that in traditional therapy, there is, and to you, do you feel that this is a form of therapy as well, or when you're like doing your life coaching, do you feel that?
I mean, it can be a form of therapy. Life coaching is more so where your goal is to help the person become independent so that you give them the tools so that they can, instead of living from their bag of pain, they have their bags of tools when they're confronted with challenges in their lives. You know what I mean? They can say, oh, I remember when I went to life coaching, or this is what, and it's kind of like therapy too, but just maybe in a different way.
Right.
So in traditional therapy, they do have this, or well, I guess I've been to therapy, guys. So in the traditional world, like you do write things out, and you write out stuff, and there's like they make you like go back and confront the people who necessarily maybe hurt you or who's causing this pain from you. does that process work, and is it a part of also returning and to loving yourself?
Oh, absolutely. I am a firm believer in writing things down. I feel like when you write things down, it's like I always say, your journal is like your best friend that is not going to tell your business, because you can can put whatever you want up in that mug, and it's not going to talk back. It's going to listen. It's going to allow you to just release. But I also believe that when people are struggling with maybe confronting someone that has hurt them in the past, writing them a letter is very beneficial, because the point is to get it out. That's really what it's all about. You know what I mean? Because if it stays inside, what they say, feelings buried alive never dies. It just multiplies. So,
We need our I gotta get this little machine, because that was definitely a whole drop of knowledge.
Yeah, so I think it's important to write it out, and so that you can express it, because it's not really about the other person, it's about you.
Yeah.
Technically facing your fears, facing the things that you felt like, oh, I don't want to talk about it, people are going to judge me, I'm going to feel ashamed. When you get it out and you see it, you be like, oh, okay, it's not so bad after all.
Yeah, no, for sure, because I'm sure that, I mean, even in my own life, like, there's tons of things that I probably need to unpack. No. But, I'm sure there's tons and tons, and, what do you think is one thing that people maybe don't realize that is holding them back? Like, in your opinion, like, what is something that, just maybe that's holding someone back and they don't even realize because it's so internal, but people don't even think about it, if that even makes sense as a question?
I'm going to say survival. And I mean survival by saying that we tell ourselves that we're okay. We compare ourselves, and we believe that if I am financially successful, if I am famous, or if I have these things, then I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't need to unpack my bag. There's nothing wrong with me.
Right.
So we live in, swimming in the Nile River in denial.
Yeah.
And so we have a hard time saying, I don't want to say something is wrong, because wrong is looked at as a negative, or you shouldn't want to, say something is wrong, because people don't want to ever say anything is negative. But I think people have a hard time looking at their dark side.
I say, it's so funny. This is a confessional moment. So
Sorry, go.
I'm in. No.
He's unpacking his bag.
Okay, real quick.
No, it ain't that serious. It ain't that serious. But right now, me and my girl are in premarital counseling. You know what I mean? And it's funny, because our last session we talked about that. Because I was like, yo, I'm gonna be 100. Like, if she, like, if we were to break up or whatever, I'm cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was funny, because my counselor was like, I realized that you always say, like, you'll be cool. And then she was like, would you really be cool? Like, sit on that. Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you really be just okay? And then I had to think about it. And I was like, well, would I be okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what I mean? Then I had to really think. And I was like, I'd be fucked up. But that's just like a defense thing. It's just like, oh yeah, I'm straight. I'm cool.
You think that's a male thing?
I think it's a both thing. I think male and females. I personally had a habit of always saying I didn't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
You care like
I don't care. And
right.
Some shit happens, and I'm like, oh, I care.
Right.
I do care. I'm
Right.
so sorry. So I've come to realize that it's important to say you care, but things may not matter, because matter occupies space.
Right.
You know what I mean? That takes space in my life. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to hold on to that. But when I care, I care. And I had to start learning to say, no, I do care. Because if I'm saying that I don't care, then I'm saying to myself that my feelings doesn't matter. I'm saying to other people around me that my feelings doesn't matter. And I'm saying to the universe that my feelings doesn't matter. So when I'm consistently attracting people who don't care about me, or life treating me a certain way, is because I am saying that I don't care. And that my feelings is not important.
And you don't even realize that that's happening to you.
Right.
Because it's so like, what's
normal,
that?
I guess. It seems normal, right?
Because what you speak into the universe really does have a part in how your universe plays out.
Right, because you are the universe.
Yeah, it does. And that's why you gotta, again, that's what I learned. I was like, I have to stop saying like I'm gonna be cool, or like you saying I don't care, or you do what you do. Nah, it's like you gotta really speak on how you feel.
Right.
You know, but like.
And maybe you were saying you don't care. Like I think sometimes it seems like when people come off like they're disconnected emotionally, that it means that they don't really care. I think what it is maybe you have the understanding where you know, okay, I will be affected by this relationship if it ends. However, I do know that I can move on. Yeah. I do know that, you know what I mean? I can learn from this experience, but we just sum it up in, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it don't matter.
Yeah.
But I mean, and to the contrary of that, you know, a lot of people too, and this is ain't got nothing to do with counseling so much, but you start to see too that that's not true. Because like even look at like celebrities and Cardi B and Offset or whatever, like. You would think that those two people, they broke up, all right, whatever. You know, they both can go get somebody that's, you know.
But deep down inside, it's like, but nah. Like,
they got that bond.
That's love. Like, that's,
like, it's just like, it's something where.
How do you feel about toxic relationships? Because on the outside, looking at their relationship from the outside, because we're not in it, it looks toxic. But on the inside, it could be. So we're going to just speak on the outside part of it. Do you think that why do you think people do stick to toxic relationships? Is it because they're not loving themselves, or what do you think that is?
I mean, part of it, I think, is conditioning. And if you're in a toxic relationship, then you're toxic.
Is it you?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you are in a toxic relationship, then you are toxic, and you are attracting toxicity. We all have toxic traits about ourselves, and I feel like I was talking to one of my girlfriends the other day, and she's like, "Why do people want to be in relationships so bad, even if it's toxic?" I said, "Because I believe that a relationship is the closest mirror that you would ever get to seeing yourself." Because you can't see yourself when you're by yourself, because you're going to tell yourself all these great things about yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? But the relationship, just as we go to premarital counseling or whatever, is going to bring out your toxicity so that you can see it. Insecurity, jealousy, control issues. It's going to bring those things out because you're sharing yourself with someone. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think toxicity is just conditioning. It's baggage that we bring into the relationship. And it seems normal because we don't have anyone painting another picture for us to say, hey, listen, you can have disagreements. You're going to not always get along, and that's okay, but here's how you handle that. But if you have baggage, you're really living from your baggage. You know how like you get hurt in a past relationship, so you go into this relationship like, I don't want to get hurt, I'm gonna be defensive, I'm gonna be on my guard. So you're not really living in this relationship, you're still in the 10 other relationships that you were just in because you didn't heal that part. So
how do you heal it though? Like, how do you, like, is there, like, because my thing is, like, I know that, like, people don't probably mean to go into these relationships and, like, bring in all these other things. How do you heal that type of stuff? Is there a way to do that alone, or you have to go to a life coach and you have to go to therapy? Like, that's the only way to deal with that?
I think it depends on the individual. I do believe that some people can unpack themselves if they're aware. They have self-help books out there. But I think if you want to do it on your own, the first thing is to identify exactly what do you want and look at your life and say, okay, am I attracting these things? And if I'm not attracting these things, and I have to ask myself why. And then you're going to probably say, you know what? I need somebody to talk to, because some people don't even know why. You know what I mean? But if you do go to a life coach or a therapy or any type of counseling, I'm sure that they'll help you to unpack. You know, I think a lot of people just don't realize the importance of unpacking and loving themselves. They think they love themselves because, you know, they take care of themselves, but they don't love themselves.
Is there anything that you can give us today, maybe like a 1-2 step at home way that someone can on a daily basis attract positive vibes for the day per se?
One, I'm a firm believer in a journal. You know, I always talk about a journal. TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Ross, Target, they have the cutest journals ever.
She took I'm thinking, I should take all the places that I would never go to look for a journal. Like,
they have the cutest journals ever. Like, they really, really do. I keep mine in my purse. Like, I have a journal in my purse right now. So I think it's not even more so just about being positive. I think it's about being truthful to yourself. Meaning that, so if you woke up this morning and you're feeling sad, write it down. Don't avoid the feelings. embrace them, sit with them, become one with your feelings. Say, hey, I'm feeling sad this morning, and if you don't know why, write down you don't know why, and it'll come to you. You know what I mean? I believe that the universe speaks to us when we put our feelings down, and every day just know that you have an opportunity to do and be your best. You know what I mean? Like, and just do your best, whatever that is. Yeah. And as long as you're true to yourself, then there's no way you can't fail. You know what I mean? You're not going to fail. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, Deva, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. I think we touched on topics that I didn't even expect for us to touch on, but I think it's important because all these things affect everyone, honestly, and to know that there is a medium out there, such as the Say Yes to You program, where you can go and say yes to you. And there's Deva here, who's extraordinary life coach who can get you back on track. How do people reach out to you to get your services?
You can follow me on Instagram. I am Deva Pink, and I also have a website, sayyestoyou.com. You can just go on there. I like to start off with a consultation, so this way I can see where you are. I can see if we're a good fit. I don't want you to waste your time or your money, and I don't want to waste mine. So just to put that out there, a consultation is really how I start, because it's important that we're a good fit, so that I can really help you get back on track. And that's how you can reach me.
Well, boom, you guys know where to reach her at. Do you have anything that you want to add?
I did have one more question.
Go for it.
Okay.
What you say to all them ghetto ass people out there that say, "Oh, you don't need no counseling. You can talk to me," or you don't need no life coach. I'm your life coach, and all that. What you say to those people?
I say that to each his own. You live and let live. But I also understand that that's just their mindset. That's just where they are. And if they feel like they have great advice to give to someone, then by means, do it. But at the same time, I think that they should be a little bit more open-minded, because, it's like your mom can tell you something and you hear her, but then someone else can say it and it registers differently.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's not a personal relationship there, so you're not taking it personal, if that makes any kind of sense. So for those people, ghetto people, I guess, as you would say.
Ghetto people.
You don't need no consolation. I got you, bitch.
Exactly. The friends who, counseling, girl, you just call me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, they got their own issues.
Right. And if she want to be that person, then go get certified, go to school, you know what I mean? Do what it takes so that you can properly help that person.
Right.
Well, ghetto people, we got the solution for you. Don't do it at home. No.
Right, really.
But thank you, Deva, so much for joining us today. And everyone who's tuning in, you know how I always say, whether you're in your car, whether you're watching on YouTube, whatever you're doing, we love you. We thank you so much for tuning in. I'm your host, Kei Renee. This is Knowledge is Key. And you already know, if you want to get early access to any of our episodes, just text the word knowledge to 21,000. We love you guys, and we'll see you guys next time on Knowledge is Key.